Hey, 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 welcome to the Psychic Soul Healer channel. My name is Laura, and I'm going to do a general message just for whoever that lands on this. I'm going to actually ask about what's going on within your connection, what your person feels about you if you're in separation, if you are in separation, if there's a third party, we're going to look at, but we're also going to look at the psychological and the emotional aspects of your person, meaning the spiritual aspects of your person. And why do we look at that? Well, everything that happens in the physical realm happened in the spiritual realm first. The spiritual realm is the psychological and the emotional because how you co create with God and the universe is through the thoughts that you think and the emotions that you have, because that is actually what determines a person's behaviorisms, what they're going to do, what their habits are. So, a lot of times when we have trauma, because we've gone through painful experiences within our relationships that are karmic, again, that tend to teach us, and they teach us a lot of times through pain and where we feel as if there's something wrong with us, where we then leave that relationship and now we're stuck with feeling shame, guilt, betrayed, victimized, all these lower emotions. And these lower emotions are called the shadow aspects of ourself, but they play out within, again, our experiences. And those experiences make us form beliefs, core beliefs about ourselves and the world around us and our relationships that are out of alignment with what we're trying to manifest. Now, whatever we're trying to manifest usually is what's going to bring us what we believe on some level is unconditional love. And unconditional love is, again, is the most perfect and the most perfect energy. And it's the most perfect energy because it's the energy of God, as the energy of the universe, because God is the universe. So, and being that God is the universe and the universe is ubiquitous, it's everywhere. It's also known as prana, right? So the air that you breathe is part of that universe, and its job needs to be able to flow through us. When we have these spiritual blocks, again, held in the body as stress, but created from the psychological and the emotional trauma, they form what we call soul wounds, which are samskaras. And again, this is what is going to determine your vibration. And so a vibration is determined by, again, how much unconditional love we have within ourselves. And so people that don't love themselves a lot of times have a lot of shadow. And the shadow aspects of self need to be integrated. So the readings that I do are all about integrating soul wounds, turning them into spiritual gifts, because really soul integration is you're taking a psychological and emotional experience that you perceive was traumatic. Now you are walking around on a subconscious level holding this theme, and the theme is that unconscious belief now that you have about yourself or the experience or both, and you form a behaviorism based on that. So when we wind up with soulmates and twin flame relationships where there is unconditional love, or when we have people in our life that we do have unconditional love for, like a mother or a father, a sister, someone in our family, but then again, they're difficult, like soulmate twin flame relationship, difficult because again, they don't think the way that you do, they don't act the way that you do, they don't, their behaviorisms aren't they may have the same wounds, however, and that's usually what it is with soulmate twin flame. They have the same wounds, but they don't respond and react the same way. And usually they trigger each other. And those are considered divine union relationships. And divine union relationships are created for healing, believe it or not. God brings, again, where we are a mirror of who and what comes into our life, and how the universe works, again, and how God works, and how, again, source works, is that we are a magnet of who and what comes to us, which means the healing that we need also is what comes to us, right? And because it said, the universe says, whatever you're seeking is also seeking you, but the spiritual energy is the energy of needing to learn and needing to integrate, because the whole point of being in physical form is to learn that you're not separate from God, which is unconditional love, which is the universe, which is everyone in the universe, because everybody has that energy inside. Where, again, I don't need to know you to know what you feel. We all have empathy, we can all empathize, especially if we've gone through the same types of experiences, right? And we can do that because we can all feel. We have the gift of clairsentient. And so there's a whole psychic language. And so soul healing is all about that. That's why I used my cards first. All right. I always like to give a little description about the channel and about the readings first, so that you understand. I am going to look at the spiritual issues first and then the storyline, but we're going to focus more on the spiritual issues, because a lot of times I'm channeling out this message for people that have problems within their relationship. I'm a soul healer. This is a soul healer channel. So what tends to come up are the karmic contracts, the karmic mates, the ones that need to learn, soulmate twin flames, but ones that are on two totally different vibrations. So needing to know how to deal with that experience is what the main focal point is, not just what's going to happen, because a lot of times we wouldn't like what's happening. That's why we're listening. We're like, I'm not happy with my relationship. That's why I'm listening. I want to know how to handle it. I don't want to just have hope that it's going to be okay until I listen to the next reading, and then it's not. I want to learn how to deal with these difficult relationships. Okay, self-observation. Well, okay, so the first card out is to know when you're in a relationship that's out of balance, that it's going to trigger you, it's going to make you look at yourself. But I'm actually feeling with this card that you're in a place where you're actually liking what's going on within your life. You like who you are, but there is a sense of also, observing yourself as having an identity, where I feel like at one point you didn't have an identity. Maybe you had an identity of what your parents said that you were, or what other people said that you were, but not really a good sense of an identity of you knowing who you are. And so self-observation is all about looking at ourselves, and not just looking at ourselves from the appearance wise, but within our character. So this could also be saying, how does the person that I'm connected to make me feel? What do they do they make me feel comfortable, or do they make me feel uneasy? Do they make me feel loved and appreciated, or do they make me feel not good enough, not worthy? We always need to start in a place of looking at ourselves first, whatever we are triggered within our relationship, because that person that you're connected to, no matter how much you love them, would not be able to make you feel any way unless you had that wound within you. Now, it doesn't mean that that person didn't create that wound. Again, people don't talk about that. But so maybe if you grew up in an environment where you're there wasn't enough money, let's just say. So then every time you wanted something or you felt that you needed something growing up, you suppressed the need to ask for it. So then you would go into each relationship not asking for things because that would be the normal behaviorism. So a lot of times what happens is we don't like what we're manifesting, and we don't like what we're manifesting because there's a lack of self observation. And that self observation is all about our identity. And our identity is, what do we want for ourselves? What is the life that we want to create for ourselves? And I feel like that's where you pretty much are right now. But there is someone that you're connected to that there is a lot of chemistry. Promethean fire is passion. But I also feel like the self observation is the fact that you are very connected to what you love to do. There is a passion for it. There is also a very spiritual connection, with meaning like knowing it just comes easy to you. But Promethean fire is again the passion that you stir up inside of yourself when you again are like fall in love with a person. That's one form of that Promethean fire, and the other is I'm just like have so much passion for what it is that I'm doing. Which, by the way, when you are balanced within yourself, part of being balanced in yourself is to have good self observation of what it is that you are projecting out into the universe, what you are showing people, and that's through your identity. And then the passion that you have is what keeps you balanced in just everything, because you don't give too much energy to any one thing, because the main energy is to give to yourself. This is what I'm feeling. And I feel like that for a lot of people, they had to come to a place of of getting hurt a lot, of giving a lot of energy to a lot of people first and being underappreciated. And coming to a place of saying, well, if I keep getting hurt, it's because it's something that I'm doing. But I also feel like you have, again, a lot of chemistry to someone that does trigger you. Again, the genius, but there is again that intuitive, and that's what I was saying. The self observation is that I feel like you're connected to someone that is actually mirroring your energy. They're putting in all the energy into creating themselves as you are. So, this is a soulmate twin flame relationship that it tells me automatically just by these three cards. And the reason why is because the genius is the God part of self, that creative force. And so when we have a soulmate twin flame connection, the reason why we have that connection is for healing, not just to manifest. It is to manifest because that person is considered your other half. There is no other half, really. What it is that the trauma that you have experienced might be that you are so blocked in, let's just say, the left brained aspects of self, which might be the logical, the linear, that would be working with the physical elements of the physical world, such as your money, such as, better connection to the physical body, and not really better connection to people, just better connection to self, the body, the physical realm, working with the elements of the physical realm. And your person may be that person that's very grounded, that's very logical, that tends to just look at the facts, that's very good at detaching from their emotions, where you are very intuitive, very spiritual, very creative. So, this is a spiritual connection because of the genius and because of the Promethean fire. Because of the Promethean fire is all that passion, right? So we know Jesus died for your passion for life. Well, guess what? Your passion is your individuality, your creativity. It's where you lose your time, your energy, your focus, and your money. But which it's again also the connection of your soulmate twin flame. So a lot of times, why you're getting a person to like that's your opposite half to come into your life again is to help transmute certain spiritual blocks, certain traumas, because certain wounds can't be transmuted by yourself. They can't, especially if you were brought up by a parent that betrayed you on some level, victimized you on some level. So I feel like both parties have this again, this intense connection where there's so much passion, where it's again, but there it creates a lot of self-observation for both parties. And that's what soulmate twin flame relationships do. So already we know that soulmate twin flame relationships that are in separation, or you could be together, but I'm feeling like automatically that you're in separation because a lot of times when it starts off that we're in the self-observation and we're not really enjoying each other, there's a reason why. It's that we might be saying, I know that this person really has feelings for me, really cares for me, really has this deep connection for me. However, they're not acting on it. They're not doing anything about it. So again, that is why we would have self-observation, because it's making us feel like, what am I doing wrong? Or why isn't this person? But it's making us feel uneasy. And also, like I said, we want to be the best version of ourselves a lot of times when we find our soulmate twin flame. And that, again, takes self-observation. Okay, so strength. So someone is actually holding back because, like, again, I pulled strength and it's reversed. So somebody is actually holding back, but they want to say something, they want to speak. Feel like for a long time, the person that you were connected to, again, now energy is fluid, so roles can be reversed. You may have to flip it, switch it, twist it, interpret it as it resonates for you. Again, this is going to be a general message for whoever that lands on this. And here's it either live or in the archives. And what we have is, again, there's a soulmate twin flame connection that's in separation, but your person wants to come out of that separation. I feel like for a long time, your person thought that not showing emotion was strength, and but now it's again seven of Pentacles, which is but it came out reversed. But there was a lot of disappointment, a lot of unhappiness. I feel like your person thought if they held back that you were going to chase them, that you were going to come forward, that you were going to give them more. So a lot of times, again, soulmate twin flames draw out our wounds. And part of your person's wounding is that they don't show emotion, that there's a lot of passion here between the two of you, but they don't want to act as if they care. And so they held back for a long time. And now they're really disappointed in themselves because they didn't get what they thought. And so I think that your person is used to having people chase them, where they had a big ego at one point. I believe in this connection, and the tables have turned. Again, the Fool, but it's again reversed. So your person is again like there's this stagnant energy where I feel like they're just holding back, they're disappointed, they're sad within their situation, they're not taking action, they're not doing anything, they're just kind of again, and all the cards are like literally reversed. Page of Cups, like, but not offering anything, just holding back. So this is where they are. Why the separation? Why the stubbornness? Why? Because this is really the energy that I'm seeing. Like there's so much passion. There's your person has so many different emotions for you. There's the I have unconditional love for you, but then there is the I'm angry because I feel like you should be acting in a way that I'm used to people acting towards me, which is usually where they elevate themselves. Their ego gets to be elevated. And you're not doing that. So it's triggering them. It's creating a lot of self observation. There's a lot of passion there, but there's almost also a lot of anger there. There's also a lot of disappointment, not just within you and how they thought that you were going to react, but within themselves, because they felt that holding back at one point was the right thing to do, was going to be the like look how much strength that I showed, but really it didn't show strength because now they're weak. Now they don't feel good because they did not get the reaction that they thought that they were going to get there. See, they're disappointed, and they're disappointed because they're not really taking action on it. They're not doing anything. I think that they thought by now you two would be talking, you would be on better terms. They're always used to getting what they want, that a certain amount of time goes by and people cave, but this is a different relationship, and I so automatically I'm feeling like this is a soulmate twin flame relationship, but you're on two totally different vibrations where your person is not acting in a mature way. They're not, they have distorted perceptions on what it looks like to be strong. It's not strong to like hold back your feelings and your emotions. Okay, let's look at the hidden truths, because before I look at the triggers, because it's like I want to know what this person actually feels, because I am feeling so many different feelings and emotions, which happens a lot of times in a soulmate twin flame relationship when you have two people on two totally different vibrations. It is a divine union, but it's designed more to trigger, to create awareness, to create self-observation, because so that's what it did. And there is attraction, but being that it's attraction, but you're on two totally different vibrations, this would then be classified more as a trauma bond or a karmic mate. But I'm feeling more of a trauma bond, because trauma bonds feel a lot like soulmate twin flame relationships, and they are. It's just they're not evolved. See, soulmate twin flame relationships, you're doing things together. You have people that are on the same vibration on an emotional level. They can express how they feel to each other emotionally. They're able to set the appropriate boundaries where it's not codependent without triggering the other person. No one has to elevate their ego or keep the other person down in any way. It's seen as equal, give and take, reciprocity. So I believe that you're connected to someone that was used to not having to give, equal give and take, but they have never experienced such a strong spiritual connection before. And so they tried to play it the way that they've always played it, because that's what a karmic loop is. A karmic loop is that you're getting a similar experience and handling it the same way that you've always handled it. So you're going to get the same outcome as you've always have had it. And that is why there would be a lot of fear around love. There would be a lot of uneasy energy around love. And we knew that because look, every single card that came out, like and when I used the tarot, was reversed. Every single last one. We have strength reversed, Seven of Pentacles. Again, person still there. There's disappointment. They're trying to come out of it, but they're not really taking action. The Fool reversed. Page of Cups reversed. So holding back on feelings and emotions. Even at one point, if this person breadcrumbed you, they're not giving you anything now. So, and I believe that they thought by holding back and by being mean that they would get more, almost that they were bullying. That's why I said it's important for us to look at the hidden truths, because just because this is their action, right, that they didn't give anything. And that's what I actually started off saying before I even pulled any cards. I said a lot of times we're in these very difficult relationships where there's so much passion, there's such a deep spiritual connection, right? The genius part of self is that God part of self. It's a supernatural part of ourself. It's the part of self that recognizes when we meet a soulmate twin flame, or when we meet anyone within our soul family, we recognize them. The genius it's that subconscious mind. It's part of mind that the intuition is like, I feel like I knew you before, or deja vu. All those signs and synchronicities, all the psychic language is what the genius, that's the language of the genius. And so that's the psychic language, but your person, instead of giving, they held back. I mean, and they breadcrumb, but we want to know why. What are the hidden truths here? I want to know, what are the hidden truths? I know I was a distraction from your pain. I feel like, again, maybe I feel like really you both were distractions from your own pain. And so pain for you, for a lot, could be a past relationship that didn't work out, or just not happy in your own life. That's not really like a super pain, but it's a pain when, again, you're lonely just day in, day out. Again, there's a lot of people that are depressed, and they're depressed just because of their life, right? Just because of what's going on within the world and how the world is making them feel. So that would be a distraction from your pain. But I feel you both were a distraction from each other's pain. I will wait for a sign from you. So it's, again, there's a lot of, again, this connection. There's still connection here. It's not saying that there's not. Promethean fire, that doesn't go away. That passion is still there. The spiritual connection is still there. But your person doesn't really want to really look at themselves. Again, they're looking at themselves, but not enough. What they're looking at themselves, but they're still not saying, well, you know what? I'm not seeing change. So let me make that change, be that change that I want to see within this relationship. They're not doing that. What they're doing is, I'm not confident. I'll wait for a sign from you. I want to wait for you. And people usually do that because on some level they don't want to commit 100%. They just don't want to do it. And that could be their own fear. That's the energy there. There's a sense of, I don't really know. I'm confused. But the problem with this is that being that I see that there's so much passion and there's such a connection, I kind of feeling like the person that you're thinking about is saying, I don't want you to move forward though. There's a lot of passion here. There is a spiritual connection. I don't want to just let this go, but I'm going to wait for you because then this way I have more, power. But the truth of the matter is that you do have the power. They don't have the power. They're trying to hold on to the power by saying, if you come to me, then I have more like wiggle room to work, meaning I can negotiate. But if I go to you, then you're going to say, well, you need to do X, Y, Z and follow what those things are. And that's why they would rather just hold back a little bit, is what I'm feeling. Because remember, all these cards are reversed where they're holding back, but they're still feeling because I love you. So the hidden truth is that they really do love you. But let's see why. What else can we look at? Like, why? Want to know why? Like, what is transpired? Like, not that it really matters, like, what happened in the past, but what's going to happen in the future. But let's look at the triggers to see why there was actually a separation. What actually happened? Mask. I got tired of the mask you wore and decided to expose all your lies. I feel like that's what happened, where, again, you called this person out on, again, the fact that they weren't being truthful, that you set boundaries with them and they didn't really want to give anything. That's they held back. And they held back because they weren't being truthful about who they were, who they are. I feel like somebody's connected to somebody that they don't really want to be with, but for financial reasons. That's for some. I feel like for some, it's like pretended to have a lot more money than they had, almost like catfished person. So some of you that might have met your person online and they just showed you who they wanted you to see, not really who they are. So it's again the mask, like, and that's because they were holding back. Like if your person was giving a lot, you wouldn't have even noticed how much money they had or what they didn't have. It's the fact that they tried to pretend that they were this person, but then they wouldn't let you close enough. But then there was all this passion and love and connection there. But then they figured, well, I'm not going to do anything. I'm going to hold back and I'm going to wait for a sign from you. So then this way, I know that you really care, and then I can try kind of figure it out. But they wouldn't be able to figure out anything. This is where they lie. There's a part of your person that I feel like lives in a bit of a fantasy. Dishonesty. I had enough of the lies, deception, and dishonesty. I will find out about it one way or another. So I feel like, again, your person, you do not trust your person, just point blank, period. Powerless. And I feel like you felt powerless. That which is what you would feel with somebody that was dishonest and that was wearing a mask. So this is the problem. You met a person that pretended to be someone that they weren't. They put a facade on. I feel like, again, some are just in a dead marriage or dead connection with someone. And so that's why you weren't allowed to get close. Others, they again might have a business, but they don't own their entire business. There's something, again, weird within that financially, where they are able to show the world or make it look like they have a lot, that they own a lot, but they really don't own a lot. So it's, again, they put on masks. They were dishonest. This is why they didn't let you get close. They were used to being able to do this because they were never going to leave their person that they were connected to. But then what happened is a soulmate twin flame comes along, a deep spiritual connection comes along that there's so much passion for, that the person actually falls in love. But they did all this where they're again pretended to be someone else, and you know it now. And you're like, again, when I'm with you, it's like I feel powerless because it's like I don't really know who I'm dealing with. I don't really know how you feel because you did that, and also it was so easy, I feel like, for you to hold back, for you not to give me, for you to like again make me think that you were with someone else, when meanwhile you just really hurt yourself. You didn't really hurt me, you hurt yourself. So this is very common a lot of times in today, that people they catfish, they pretend to be someone that they're not. And eventually, when you're feeding something, again, someone else, which apparently is what happened, your person was feeding you. Again, whether or not emotionally or mentally, you might not have gotten a lot, but on some level, just the thought of you and them in this fantasy of giving you, they fell in love. They gave a lot of energy to it because they're in a connection with someone that they don't want to be in. So when a person is with someone that they don't want to be with, they do pretend to be someone else. They have to, they're connected to that person, so on some level they have to share their finances and they have to share like what they're doing, but they're not really, they're not grounded in any area of their life. They're the person that they're with, they're always checked out emotionally. And then with any person that would come into their life, including you, even though they had a tremendous amount of feeling for you, they couldn't give really to you because they can't leave their connection that is dead because of financial reasons. That's usually why. Sometimes there's children, but I feel like mainly here it's financials. Forgotten. I felt invisible and forgotten by you as if I never existed. And this is what your person does. It's like because they, again, they held back so much. They might have been promises. I feel like your person never came straight out and promised, but there was a lot of insinuations and there was a lot of assumptions due to the deep connection and to the spiritual connection. And then when they did that, it's like there's a sense of them when they left, for you, abandonment, right? But I mean, I felt like I was forgotten about. I felt powerless and forgotten about. So two energies that really abandonment is made up of. That's what the wound is, that your person woke up within you. So understand that is why the only way to like heal that connection within yourself is not really to go out and find someone else, but is to dump the love and the power and the passion into yourself, meaning invest in something that you're passionate about. Feed your spirit, create yourself in order to not be powerless or to be forgotten about, is how you heal that. Because I feel like your person had a lot of feelings for you and gave soulmate twin flame relationship is is a connection that's really profound that should have happened. But your person, like I said, is in a connection with a karmic connection because they are not happy where they are. Time. I felt you had more time for other people than me. You have become too busy for this connection. So it's like, again, that they never gave you enough time. And so what happened is that you didn't give them any time. So that triggered them because they're again expecting you to give. They're used to being with people that were not vibrating on the same vibrational frequency even as them. So they were dealing with people that had very low self-esteem, because if they are connected to someone else and they're only breadcrumbing whoever, and those people are giving them enough time, that's the perception that they would assume that everyone should give. That's their normal. You didn't do that. You didn't do that, but not because you didn't have feelings. It's because they weren't giving you. It was clear. They held back a lot. That they had feelings. They almost invested. They continue to invest in something that they're not happy with, and they continue to stay in this energy of like just disappointment and not happy and keeping themselves stagnant. This just this energy of like, again, dishonesty, because you pretended to be someone, and then like instead of you giving me time to even fix it, I felt forgotten and like powerless, because there was nothing I could really do about it. Because really, if there's going to be change, it would be within your person, because they're connected to someone else. But they have feelings. So just because they have feelings and there's this spiritual connection does not mean that you're supposed to do everything. And sometimes that is the karmic lesson for you, to love yourself enough that know that even though you have this intense, amazing connection with someone, that unless they step up, you have to let them go. A lot of times within these soulmate twin flame relationships, there's such an instantaneous connection where the person feels like home, they feel like comfort, you love them. There's again, and you have such deep love, you know how you would never hurt a person that you care about. So you are assuming that they are going to come from the same level of consciousness and have the same character that you would. But when you're dealing with a soulmate twin flame relationship that's on a totally different vibration than you are, the reason why they're on a different vibration than you are is because their character is bad. So they're only thinking about themselves. And that is what happened here, because this person couldn't think about you because they're in a connection with someone else that they're not happy with. So that we can assume that they're in a connection with someone else that they're unhappy with because of finances or obligations. But nevertheless, they choose to stay there, and then got mad at the fact that you weren't going to give them what they're used to. The other people like gave them as much as a person that was giving. This person wasn't giving, and they expected you to act like they were that they were. Which again, that might have been a karmic theme that you grew up in, which was I was always overlooked. I felt like I was abandoned. I felt like I was powerless. I felt that, I was forgotten about. I was gaslighted. There was a lot of dishonesty, again, betrayal. A lot of these wounds that we grow up with, they play out like this, that we meet a person that there's a deep connection to, that they're not giving anything to, and they're stuck in this stubborn energy. This isn't a logical, what logically, that a person that has a deep connection should automatically just give and love, but a person that has a lot of trauma around it, they don't even know how to set appropriate boundaries. They're usually all or nothing. So your person wound up really giving nothing, even though they love you. So, and they love you. I don't even want to say that they love you, because if they didn't invest time, they don't really know you. So they're also someone that tends to fall in love with the idea of someone, because again, real connections you have to feed, and your person did not feed anything. So they feel that they love you because of this spiritual connection, because of, again, this intense passion. So again, we don't want to confuse passion for love. It's two totally different things. We can have passion for someone and not be in love with them. Because passion is, I want to be in the bedroom with you. I want to go out and have a good time with you. I'm here, might be here for a short time, but not for a long time. I don't have big dreams and goals. I'm not building anything with you. Person that really loves someone is giving time, energy, focus, money, their resources, their personal resources, a lot of times within a relationship, because you're growing a relationship. This person wasn't around, that didn't give. Create a lot of self observation within themselves about what they want and what they don't want, and they don't want to be in the relationship that they're in, and they don't want to be unhappy. But what I'm seeing is they don't want to be where they are, but they're expecting you to do all the work. And they thought because it was such intense connection, that, and because they love you, that you would just do it. Surprise. Silent treatment. And that's why it's like you're not really talking to this person. I feel like you're holding back at this point, and you're both are kind of in a Mexican standstill. This person wants to be very stubborn, wants to hold back, wanted a breadcrumb, has feelings. It's an obvious connection, but they're not giving anything. Again, expecting you to do something. So they're not talking to you because, again, they're mad because they are used to people, again, just doing for them. And you're making them kind of look at themselves and seeing that they're not as great as they think that they are, because, again, you're not caving. I wish you were here with me. So, but then again, that soulmate twin flame relationship is, it's again, I'm so angry, but there is this still unconditional love. Like, I just don't want to feel this. So I believe that you both are in that energy, and that energy is there to heal really your person and you. And you have to say, well, how would it heal me and my person? Well, it would heal you, because if you grew up in an environment where you felt powerless, and a person was always gaslighting and holding back and not giving, and you held your ground, and you hold your ground and you're true to yourself, and this person eventually, again, they get mad, but that unconditional love is still there. And what happens is eventually they surrender because they wish that you were there with them, and vice versa. That what you're seeing is people can be mad, but just because a person's mad doesn't mean that they don't love you. And even if a person acts badly, it doesn't mean that they don't love you. Only God loves perfect, and that the wounds that we create due to the experiences that we go through need to be healed and integrated. Otherwise, they play out within, a lot of times, power struggle. And a power struggle is, like, again, that second chakra of wanting to control, but we can't really control, like, how we feel about someone. Unconditional love, there we can't. And that is what your person's seeing too. They're like you're not caving, and at the end of the day, what I'm realizing is that I just wish that you were here. Like, I mean, all this other stuff didn't matter, doesn't matter. And that is really healing for both you and your person, that you're feeling that connection still, again, but that your person is actually saying it, like, after all, it doesn't it doesn't it doesn't matter. I At the end of the day, all my triggers and how I believe you should act and what I believe you should do, I still love you. Where, again, that's what unconditional love is. And so a soulmate twin flame number one's job to do is to teach that energy of unconditional love, because it is going to trigger. especially when you have two people that are not healed. And as I said, if you grew up in an environment where you were abandoned, where you were victimized, where you felt betrayed by a parent, maybe again your parent was an alcoholic, maybe they they were in bad relationships. There's a million reasons why we feel abandoned. It doesn't even mean that it's true. Remember, the child self looks at things through a certain perception. So you've gone through this situation, but now that you're traumatized, it's held within your subconscious mind. It became a wound. It stays dormant until you again wind up in your first relationship, and then it plays out within your relationship as codependency, or now with this relationship, soulmate twin flame relationship, I believe that your person is still tends to be codependent. I believe that you are not codependent. I believe that they again have fallen in love with you, even though that's not what they were looking to do. It's just what wound up happening. So it's the whole message to this is that you cannot control unconditional love. And so, and then I'm just going to pull one more, which is this one, and we're going to close out because this has been really long. But it's losing you is my biggest regret. I feel totally lost and alone now. You deserve better than me. And this, so your person realizes that because they breadcrumbed and they held Bella back and they were dishonest, even though that there's unconditional love that you're not going to bend, and in the end they didn't put any effort in, and they gambled with this relationship. So their ego was really more at play here than them. They didn't raise their vibration to your level. So what happened was the karmic consequence was that they lost you. So I'm sorry about that. If you're still in pain, I hope that you're not, but understand whenever you bank on you, you always get blessings. There's always there's a bigger reward because what you chose was you. When you choose you by again not putting up with someone that's only going to breadcrumb you, by not selling out, you wind up getting somebody that's a lot better for you. Now, I wanted to actually pull one more, which was your children need to come first. Trust that they are part of our plan. Alternate. Our inner children need to come first. So I also believe that your person also held back because, again, the other obligations could be family. So there's a sense that they are being guilted by the person that they're with due to their children, and they have to straighten out that. They have to love themselves enough to realize that they're deserving of their own life. Then they can come into this relationship or any relationship. Otherwise, they're just going to stay in a miserable relationship because of again children or and finances and just other obligations, because there will always be other obligations once you were married with someone, unless you set boundaries. And so really that's your person has to bank on themselves. They have to put the energy into themselves. That's the moral to themselves. And because they didn't, they lost you. And they're never going to have that type of connection again because you don't have soulmate twin flame relationship every day. You don't meet that type of connection. So again, if you resonated, let me know. Please feel free to leave your comments in the comment bar, and I will love to answer any questions and just be interactive. All right, bye guys.